And I think this is the part where you and I would heartily agree with anything that Ayn Rand might have to say. But from there, she's going to take it on to a bunch more assertions, which I'm going to get to. This is from the Objectivist newsletter in 1962. They're sort of the basic principles of objectivism. Number one, reality exists as an objective absolute. Facts are facts, independent of man's feelings, wishes, hopes, or fears. I'm pretty
Yeah, I think for the most part, I'm on par. I'm on board with that one.
Number two, reason, the faculty which identifies and integrates the material provided by man's senses, is man's only means of perceiving reality, his only source of knowledge, his only guide to action, and his basic means of survival. Again, I can't really complain yet. Okay, number three. Man, every man is an end in himself, not the means to the ends of others. He must exist for his own sake, neither sacrificing himself to others, nor sacrificing others to himself. The pursuit of his own rational self-interest and of his own happiness is the highest moral purpose of his life. Okay, here's where I start to get shaky.
Yeah.
And it's not so much that I'm necessarily complaining about what she's chosen as her values. I mean, I do have some misgivings about it, but it's not so much that I have a problem with in number three. It's the way that she presents it as basically a basic, obvious fact, a truism.
I'm just wondering what you think is not true about it. What the problem is. What's the problem with that statement?
Because while I think that there is objective reality in the world, there's also stuff that happens inside your head. And most of the things that you value are in there.
Where else would a value be if not in your brain? Where else would it be? Can you call something that you aren't conscious of a value? That's intrinsicism. It's late. Intrinsicism is a form of mysticism. Are you aware of that? I'm not sure what you're saying. Are you proposing a mind-body dichotomy here? That values don't exist in the brain? Do they exist somewhere else? Or what are you saying?
Getting back to Ayn Rand, I just want to point out that this is a place where I have some misgivings that Ayn Rand might start to veer off into Chuck Colson territory. Because to say that every man is an end to himself, and he must do this and he must not do that, seems to be wandering into the territory of mixing up values and the objective reality, which she just spent the last two points talking about.
Again, Russell seems to think that you can get values from somewhere else than reality. I don't even know what that would look like. I don't know what that is. So there are no values without reality. So I don't even know what he means.
Yeah, and there's a huge flaw in that third one, or a couple of huge flaws, I'd say, in that third one. One is, as you pointed out, this must do, that kind of almost dogmatic assertion. The second one is that he shouldn't sacrifice himself for others or others for himself, and the justification of this is the pursuit of his own rational self-interest. And yet, rational self-interest is not clearly defined within this context. I mean, what you may consider to be in your best interest and best self-interest and consider it rational, someone else might object to.
Well, I guess if you bothered to do any reading, rather than speculating or trolling Wikipedia, you'd have discovered that a rational value is one that is attached to reality, and an irrational value is one that is divorced from reality. Rand was very, very clear about this. She went over it and over it and over it. You missed it, but that's okay. Lots of people do. But this is not, obviously, this program isn't concerned with exploring objectivism. This program was concerned with smearing objectivism as best you could by avoiding, very important aspects and principles and things Rand spent many, many years developing. So I hope you had fun with that. A rational self-interest would be one grounded in objective reality. Rational self-interest has standards that are grounded in objective reality. If you claim to accept objective reality as a fact, but deny that man needs that in any way, shape, or form to survive, be happy, or flourish. And I don't understand that glaring contradiction. Perhaps you could explain it at some point.
But my pledge today is I'm going to try not to too much get into a critical thing about libertarianism, because I really want to focus on Ayn Rand's weird definition of what objectivity is, and then get into some of the strange cult-like practices that seem to spring up around.
Oh, here it comes. The stereotyping and bigotry. Goody goody. From the nihilists who think that values in your head are somehow less valuable than values in the world that exist outside of your head, and somehow you can have values in your life without having them in your head. How objective is that?